Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin in Tucson, Arizona. Thanks for joining us today. Please leave your remarks to yourself. No, put them in the box that says like whatever the box says. I don't know. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, but what I'm going to do next is shock and amaze you with an NGC open box on some stuff that it is super fun to show you because I got some surprises today. That's all I'm going to say. I've got some surprises today, and as always, the caveat for all of you out there who are into coin grading and coin grading videos, if you like graded coins, I recommend that you purchase coins that are already graded, and that's kind of a good starting point for coin collectors. And after I've already given my caveat, I will immediately tell you that some of the recommendations I have for people who want to try to do a little bit of cherry picking is to kind of be in this realm that we're going to talk about today, because it is a little bit of some mid-century modern stuff, some proof stuff, trying to get some stars upon ours, and so we're shooting for some cameos and stars. This 1950 Washington quarter, we had a capital plastic set and broke that sucker up. It had a bunch of proof quarters in it, and I thought this coin was pretty nice. Proof 65. I think we're hoping for like a little bit higher grade. This is probably about a $60 coin retail, and no cameo effect to it or anything like that. But most of those, a lot of those proofs don't actually jump until you get into kind of that 67 area. All right, next up we have the 1951, also from the same set. And I would say this set has, this gives us a chance to kind of compare and contrast grades a little bit. This coin has almost a little bit more of a lustrous look, a little bit less of a cameo look than the 50 had, but also I think the overall field quality is going to be a little bit nicer. And let's just slow down a minute and take a look at that. You see these lines on Washington's neck and face. Those are die polish lines. Actually, that is directly into the die. So as the coin is struck, those lines are left there. Super nice satiny glossy field, and the reverse actually struck me immediately as being high quality, and it's hard to really fully put your finger on it when you look at these proofs. You have to just kind of have an idea ahead of time of what a nicer finish looks like than not. It's like when you watch synchronized diving at the Olympics and you're like, that was amazing, and then the judges give them low scores. You're like, what? Proof 67. So a nice coin, probably just a little bit under $100. Once again, 67s. Of course, on your uncirculated coins, that's the big jumps on most of these coins from the same time period. The proofs, that's not that big of a jump. That's a nice coin for $100, right? So I think probably, as always, hoping to get as high a grade as possible. Next up comes one of the cooler varieties you'll see in coin collecting, in my opinion. I know a lot of people look for these, try to find them. This is the 1952 proof Superbird. Yes, there's an S on my chest. Right dead center of that feather there. You see that little mark. Sometimes it doesn't look like an S, depending on the angle I get it at, but that perfectly dead center on that thing, it looks like there's an S, and you can see it almost better from a distance because it kind of sticks out. But that is the Superbird variety, of course named after Superman, who will be on a US coin, by the way. If you didn't know about that, you should check out the articles about Superman being on coins, on US coins, mind you. You'll note that this coin is actually kind of similar to the first coin, I think, in overall quality, surface quality here. In this one, the 52 Superbird came back as 66. And so this guy is going to be about $175 coin on that guy. So those all came out of a capital plastic sets. And I think what's up next. Now, not everything here is coming out of sets. I got a couple of coins that we kind of threw in this on an economy service to get it going here. So we've got these really cool 1960 Washington quarter, and we were shooting for stars or cameos. You know, that cameo appearance is that black and white offset. where the fields look black and the devices, that is the design, looks white. And once again, talking about just overall quality, comparatively, you can look at that coin and it's just the fields become more and more glossy, just impeccable on a coin like this. This guy here, we got a pretty decent grade, so 68 cameo. So a 1960 is not a rare coin, a rare date. So even though it's a super high grade, a coin like this can be had for 50 bucks. And so this gets me back to kind of that area of collecting that is kind of fun, where you can buy really choice examples of certain coins that are just really beautiful and not break the bank. And that's kind of a nice example just in the coin market in general. Next up, we've got a 1964, which I feel like has a much nicer cameo obverse than that 1960 did. And the reverse is just a little bit lackluster. It doesn't have that same cameo effect. 68 star. Once again, beautiful coin, not that expensive. I think we'll probably have that coin for, let me see if I'm got my numbers straight here, if I'm all crooked, probably less than 40 bucks. All right, next up, some more stuff from some proof sets. It's 1956 proof Franklin half dollar. This is the type 1 variety on this guy. And once again, a lot of the proofs just got that pretty good look to it. Old Benji never looked so good. Proof 67 on this particular coin is going to be probably about $175 coin, and the type of thing that, once again, trying to cherry pick for grade, you get the idea that, on a coin like this, you can probably pick it up raw for substantially less than $175, which is, I think, what our retail is going to be on that guy. And, if you know what you're looking for, so like I said, I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. We got a pretty broad base of people to entertain here and educate. So that's why I always start with that caveat about not getting coins graded yourself. And then, but if you're thinking about it, this is kind of a fun area to get started at, because lots of these coins you can pick up for, less than $50 and then have fun seeing how you can do. But the key here, guys, is to look at a lot of coins and get your eye trained to what a high grade looks like. And this particular coin here, 1964, we've got the straight G variety. This coin brought to you by Snoop Dogg and the Arizona Gin and Juice Bowl, hashtag not sponsored. So instead of having the serif kicking out on that G as a crossbar, it's the straight G, the original OG, double OG, proof 68, and that guy trades also in about that maybe $55 range. And when you can have one, hey, you can have two. Not two for the price of one, unless they're priced at $110, and then they're two for the price of one. And if you've ever shopped at Kohl's, they're $200, but they're 75% off. All right. Next up, this 1964, I think we were going for another little bit of a star effect on this one. Star / cameo. And these guys have those huge open fields compared to some of the other coins. You've got a larger coin on the 50-cent piece, and they're just massive. And so you can start to see what a really nice finish looks like on a 64. That's a good example. Oh boy. So sometimes it's good to kind of observe some things from a distance. And this coin came back at proof 67. That is not going to pay the bills on that guy. That is something that you really need to get the star on there just to get a little extra oomph out of the coin, and or get something that's going to be a higher grade than a 7, or really the combination thereof. I feel like this coin should have a star on it. So not to be too picky. Next up, we got a couple 2-3 coins that are a little bit different as far as moving along to another genre of coin. We have one of my favorite variety coins, this 1942 over 1 mercury dime. And you can see, as we look here, you see there's a lot of action going on around that 4 and that 2. And what you really want to be able to see is that 4, you really want to be able to see 2 full lines there at the base of the 4. And that's what we're getting on this coin. There's lots of stuff you'll see that's been played with or messed with, or that is just like your eyes are just blurry. And so, but this one you should be able to see the 4, that tab coming out the bottom of the 4. And then you see at the bottom corner of the 2, and in this, from this angle, it would be the top left-hand corner of the 2, but it's basically that bottom corner of the 2. You can see the part sticking out there. So this guy getting it certified because, you know, it is a higher grade, tougher coin. Also a little too bright and shiny. Like, it's got really great luster, but also calling it AU details cleaned. Not too much of a surprise. This coin here, I mean, we might auction off. I'm not really sure with the cleaning exactly how to price that. It has huge jumps. I think extra fines and I mean, that 300 range and AUs are 900, so it's kind of all over the place. Next up, there is a lamination, one of my favorite things. This is a type of a planchet flaw, and the type of thing that I really like. So nickels especially, so you'll see this especially on V nickels. War nickels, of all things, have lots of lamination, so that's where you see there is a annealing problem during the, I think it's when the metal cools and it starts to peel. It's kind of like when you're baking. I was going to make a baking analogy. Wow, I wonder how many people would have got that. All right, whether the hot and cold temperature, it's basically the same science as if you're doing cement, right? So maybe it's cool enough to talk about baking. But basically, when you have things that are at the wrong temperature, some things separate instead of come together. And we do have some scratches in the field, which is very unfortunate. You can see it looks like Wolverine got here. This coin was probably owned by Deadpool. It looks like Deadpool's face now that I think about it. So the Deadpool Wolverine coin was graded obverse lamination, mint error, VF details, reverse damage. That is almost as much talking as Ryan Reynolds does in those commercials for Burger King. So pretty cool coin. Maybe send that up to an auction. Kind of a wild piece. Kind of a wild card even, really, on that guy. 1906. I think it's probably going to be, I don't know. I can't buy a football club from Wrexham with that money. That's all I know, but it might be a couple $100. Next up, a 1909 San Francisco mint. And I know you're all hoping for the VDB at the base of that. I'm staring at there, and there's no VDB to be seen on the base of that coin, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate indeed. So this guy here is a Mint State 64 red brown, maybe in a $400 to $500 range type coin. Very nice looking overall, and you know, a little bit of spotting, but has a little bit of that wood grain texture, but not too heavy. Some people like the wood grain texture on their copper. Some people do not. And I kind of like the vibrant orange. When you can get a real vibrant orange, that's kind of my favorite flavor of copper, if you will. All right, so next up, we actually get to some stuff that is really compelling, I think. We get to some stuff that's a little bit more esoteric as far as the collector market goes, and you know, the rarity involved in errors on Susan B. Anthony dollars. It's kind of interesting because there's not a lot in that marketplace compared to some other coins. They have lower mintages. They're not as collected. So for people who collect errors, they'll start looking over at an error where, say, they make in pennies, you'll see off-centered errors like all the time. But to see it on a 1979 Susan B. Anthony is very, very unusual. And so you'll see really high price points on stuff like this. So, of course, it helps if they don't say that it has an obverse wheel mark on it. So there is that. In this particular coin here, you know, I think I still think it's worth at least a couple $100. I got to find that wheel mark now, y'all, because there's always a hidden wheel mark on some of these coins. I think it's right there on the hair. Well, there is some, I don't know that that's a wheel mark. Well, let me get a different angle here. It's if you track the B across from the B straight across and the B in Liberty. I know you're waiting for something to buzz around, but there's some lineage there. And I think it might be, maybe that is a wheel mark. I'm trying to always find that high point to see where that wheel mark hit. The coin looks brand new, beautiful coin, and of course that doesn't stop the wheel mark from being there. Next up is, I'm going to show you this side first. Look at, I'm so excited about this coin, and I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited about this coin, because I have two or three piece dollars that have a similar color palette to this that did not get a straight grade, and this coin has a straight grade, and so that's a happy thing for me. I just think that's cool. Also, from a distance, let me get some of the close-ups here. You know, it has a little bit of a purple haze to it, but then when you look at some of the pockets of color, yeehaw, they're not the type of thing that's going to blow you away on a vibrancy level from a distance, but in the light, they really look great, and it's just fun. You know, it's got a little bit of that purple to steel color, but then it's got these little highlights, especially on the reverse, the bird side. Give him the bird. Here's the other side here, the bird. So let's see, what are we doing here? This is an error coin. If you see that line right there, so this is not a scratch. This is a struck through. So that's when something gets between the planchet, so the unstruck coin, and the die, the machine that's making the coin. And when you look at this guy, you've got this wire that would have been stuck down and in. And a part of that is, you know, the way that there's not actually a visible metal flow inside of that groove itself. It is just, it transitions kind of naturally over the shoulder of the eagle into the field. Hard for me to describe it exactly, but, you know, there's just a certain look, a big differentiation between a strike through and a scratch is going to be the metal movement on the coin versus not. And there's some of that really kind of fun color, especially look at the tail of the bird right there with that kind of purple. And then on the other side here, I think we got some brighter colors coming through. You'll see my true colors coming through in a second. MS62, fun until we take the T-bird away. This guy, good question. I don't know, $200 or $300 maybe, that we might just have to auction. A few of these errors we might have to auction off. And let's get on to the getting on here. So this is another one that is a super scarce error. This is a 1999 Susan B. Anthony that is 75% off center. We may have to send this off to like a major auction house. Maybe we'll just put a stupid price on it to start with and then consider sending it off to an auction house nationally if we don't get what we want. But, you know, when you get, once again, you know, this is the type of error that you'll see on Lincoln pennies from the 70s all the time. But 1999, first of all, is a year that you don't see. Once you get into those 90s, the late 90s, you really stop seeing these type of errors. I don't remember what year they actually shifted the type of printing to a different machine, and then you can see the P mint right there by her collar. And what a cool piece that is. MS65, 75% off center. Just kind of a type of thing that's really rare in a, I don't say esoteric way, but it's just really wild. All right, so last but not least, this is actually the gravy. The gravy, good gravy. Okay, so this coin, you may notice, is not in a slab. And this coin, 1981, Philadelphia Mint coin, was in another video that we shot. So I'm very careful about kind of how I describe things because I don't know everything about everything, and grading is an opinion, yada yada, you know, all that good stuff. So, but what I will say is that, you know, we took this coin directly out of the holder. You guys have seen it before in another video. If you haven't seen the video, there is a link to it. And you guys just take a second to ruminate on why this coin is not in a holder. And then I will show you exactly what they said. Well, I told you I'd show you what they said. I'll say it out loud for the sake of those of you who aren't seeing this right in your face right now. Not encapsulated altered surface. So this is just a swing and a miss for them, because like we've got, look, okay guys, the grading tip right here. Look at the edge of this coin. Like, there are 3 sides to a coin, and oftentimes we forget about the reeded edge. But it is so indicative of like when you go from a coin that has that type of pure reading to it, which is just super fresh and minty, to these surfaces, it's like, well, someone would have had to have polished or ground down this surface and not affected the rims at all. And so the learning thing here really is for everyone who's watching, which is like, just there's little takeaways from things to kind of give you hints and pointers about whether something is original or not. And you kind of have to take the whole thing into consideration. So this is undoubtedly a massive strike through grease. That's what I would say. There are some errors that will be some type of striking pressure error, but I've never really quite understood those. And what I would say to that is, if you look once again at the rim is actually very solid on both sides, right at the rim. And then after that, it gets the mushy. So once again, I'm not sure what to do with this. Well, I think we may send it off to another company to have them take a look at it, and hopefully they will hold it properly. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for being here. Take a time to hit the thumbs up and leave a comment. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.